Hi all. Yesterday night I played a game in a team match that we played against another club, and unfortunately I lost my game. The total result of the team match was 4 against 4, so it was a draw. But my own game was very complicated, and I lost. But I want to show you the game. I played d4. I was playing white, and we got the Nimzo Indian defense, f3, d5, a3, exchanging of this light piece here, and then castling. And here I thought that bishop to g5 would be a good idea, to play bishop g5 with the main idea of later continuing with e4 and e5 and starting an attack on the king side. The theory says that here the most popular line is c takes d5 and continue with e takes d5 and then e3, and then later on the light squared bishop is developed to d3, to this diagonal to h7. But in the game I tried my own idea, bishop to g5 here. My opponent took on c4, I played e4, and I played b5. So what he wants is to keep this this pawn, and this type of positions we also see sometimes in the accepted Queen's Gambit, where black takes on c4 and then plays b5, trying to keep the pawn, and the compensation for white is this strong center. And here I tried, actually I thought for a long time, but I thought, okay, I want to go for the attack, and maybe that was too early. I played e5 here, and he replied with h6, bishop to h4, g5, and I went with my bishop to f2. I was thinking between going to g3 or f2, and I thought I want to give the possibility open to advance my g pawn later, maybe. So that's why I went to f2. Knight went to d5, queen to d2, knight c6, and this knight on c6 wants to go, for example, like this. Another possibility was of course to play c5, and that looked actually very strong to undermine my center, but my opponent decided to play knight to c6. I played knight to e2 with the plan of going with this knight to g3, e4 and f6, and he played f5 here immediately. Now I took actually automatically on f5 en passant, but I was surprised to see that my chess engine doesn't like this move. He prefers actually to play h4 right now. He said this is stronger, and that surprised me because I didn't like these two pawns here. I thought this looks so, he's controlling this whole area, but it seems like h4 is a better idea, to later open this h file and start an attack on the king side. But well, in the game no h4, but he takes f5, queen takes f6, and now knight to g3. Queen went to f4. He wants to trade queens because of this pawn advantage that he has. Knight to e4, and here he played e5. I took on e5 here, and he took my queen, and I had to take with the king to defend the c3 pawn and have the possibility to play my knight. He took on e5 now, and here I played a4. Now my opponent made here a mistake, so I could get some counter play. He played b takes a4, and now you see all these pawns are weak. So first I played bishop to d4 to chase the knight away from e5 sorry, and later capture on c4 with my bishop from f1. Rook e8, take on e5, take on e5, and then taking on c4. Now this knight on d5 is pinned, so I'm threatening here to play knight f6 check, winning a piece. So he plays king to g7, and here I played bishop to b5. I didn't want to take here immediately, because then knight b6 comes and I have a problem. If I want to keep my bishop defended, then a5 comes, and now I'm in big trouble, because this bishop is going to fall unless I take on b6, but that would be terrible for me. So that means that I cannot take immediately the pawn on a4 with my rook. So that's why I played bishop to b5 here. Knight f4 was played. Bishop takes a4. Knight takes g2. Bishop c6, attacking the rook. The rook must go to b8, and now I took on a7. So the material is equal now, but I have a big disadvantage, and that is my king in the center. And that was actually fatal in the game later. He moved the rook to e7 here, defending the c7 pawn, and I went with my rook to g1. Now that was not a very good idea. I didn't know what to do actually here, and I remembered my last game where I forgot to activate all my pieces. So I thought, okay, how can I activate my rook on h1? It's the only piece that is not active yet, and it would be maybe have been a better idea to bring it to d1 at once. But I played rook to g1, and the knight went to h4, threatening to take on f3. And when I played rook to g1, my plan was here to play rook to g3, but that's impossible. Well, it's possible, but it's very dangerous because of this check here. So after knight h4, I played king to e3, defending the f3 pawn, but at the same time pinning my own knight here. Rook b2 was played. Rook h1, defending the h2 pawn. Now bishop h3, threatening bishop to g2 and winning the pawn on f3 anyway. So I was, at this point, I had to admit that I had a very, very bad position, especially my king in the center with these rooks around it. It looks terrible. I play rook to d1 now. Knight f5 check, king d3, bishop g2. Now I played knight to d2, defending the f3 pawn and blocking the second rank for the black rook. Rook e3 check, king to c4, knight d6, king d4, knight f5, king c4. I thought here my opponent wants to repeat moves, but he played rook to e7 now, threatening a fork here. So I had to move my king, and instead of going back to d3, I played king to c5, and that was a big mistake, because then knight to e3 attacks the rook on d1, and if it leaves d1, then the knight on d2 will fall. I was in severe time pressure here. It's not an excuse. I mean, I just made this mistake, and my opponent saw it and exploited it. Knight takes d1, rook a1, attacking the knight, and the rook on b2 is also attacked. The rook goes to f2. Now I take the knight, so I'm the exchange down here, and then a few moves later I had this ending that's totally lost. So I played a few more moves, but when this position was reached, I was going to lose my knight as well, so I resigned here. So this was the game I played yesterday, and complicated. It was very exciting to play it. I enjoyed the game, the puzzles, but unfortunately the result was very bad for me. Okay, I'll see you next time on YouTube. Goodbye.